When we are troubleshooting a problem, the first thing that we need to do is we need to identify the symptoms of the problem and then come up with the potential causes. So how do we identify symptoms? Well, we use our senses. We look, we listen, sometimes even smell is a sense that can tell us something. If we smell something burning and we're around a computer, that's usually not a good sign. So we want to use all of our senses to identify the symptoms of the problem. As you remember, we talked about we always want to troubleshoot the symptoms to find the problem. That way you don't become part of the problem, you start solving the problem. Then, how do we identify potential causes? Well, we do that because of our knowledge. We do that because of what we know about the network. In other words, we don't just troubleshoot blindly. We don't just start trying things. We think about, well, what could possibly be causing this? What makes sense here based on what I know? And that's why the more you know, the better troubleshooter you're going to be, because you can think that through. You can take shortcuts that other people might not take. Then we have to identify the affected area. The reason we want to identify the affected area is because the whole purpose of troubleshooting is to get the user productivity back to where it should be. Now, how many users are being affected and what type of users are being affected is going to be a big factor in that. And sometimes what we might want to do is, if we can't absolutely fix the problem 100%, is put a band-aid on it if it's a very important group of users, and then fix the problem 100% later on when people are gone, when the network's a little quieter. So we want to identify the affected areas so that we know what steps we're going to take next. Then we need to establish what has changed. In other words, the problem didn't exist before and now it does. So what is different now than before? And a lot of times you can get some information from the users in regards to that. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes the user will say, well, I didn't do anything. It was just that, that way. I haven't installed anything. I haven't flipped any switches. I haven't done anything. Well, you kind of know that somebody must have done something, because these things don't just happen on their own. But you have to ask a few more questions in order to determine what else might be going on in regards to this issue. So you got to identify what has changed, and you can, the users can help you to some degree in that, but you might also have to take a look at logs to see what might have been done. But identify anything that you can about what has changed in the network. Then select the most probable cause. Now, this is where a lot of people go wrong. What they do is they say, okay, well, it could be this, could be this, could be this, could be this, so I'm going to change all 4 of these things right now and see if that fixes the problem. Well, if it does, great. But you're lucky, because you might have just fixed it and then broken it again. And plus, if it could have been any of those 4 things and now it's fixed, well, which one was it? So if it happens again, which one was it? You're going to fix all 4 things again? So the best thing to do long term for troubleshooting is identify a probable cause and then implement the plan to fix that. In other words, take the thing that it could most probably be, and then apply a solution for that, and then test the result for that probable cause and see if you fixed it. If you did, then you know exactly what it was. If you didn't, then try something else. But isolate each one. Troubleshooting is a process of isolating. So you need to isolate each step so that you know when you fix the problem, you know exactly what you did to fix it. So we want to identify the results and the effects of the solution. And then the last step is that we want to document the solution and the whole process that it took to fix the solution. In other words, document, okay, here's what it looked like, and here's what we did to fix it. And that will become a very important document. When network administrators are interviewed, they always say that the biggest thing that helps them in troubleshooting is that logbook that's up on the shelf that somebody took the time to keep, so that historically when things go wrong again, we have that history, we have that information that we can go back and take a look at again. So those are the most important steps, and those are the steps you need to know, both for real life as well as those are the objective steps for the 2005 objectives. When we started this training, we said that it was twofold. That number one, that you would gain networking experience, you would gain networking knowledge. But the other thing was that we were going to get you ready to take and pass the Network Plus test with the 2005 objectives. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some tips on taking and passing the test. That's next.